Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Thanks for watching, as always, on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our outstanding affiliates across the country. We do have a national title game tonight, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And for most of the week, the Hurricanes were catching 8.5 or 9. Total was as high as 48.5. Now you look here at Circa, Indiana's down to a 7-point favorite, minus 20 cents. So we go out to the Progressive Guest Line. The great Chris Fallica joins the program now. He's already in the stadium, of course, Bear Bets podcast and Fox Sports. Bear, as always, thanks for the time. Love talking to you, my man. What do you make of that move now?
It feels very eerily similar to what we saw during the quarterfinal between the Miami and Ohio State Cotton Bowl game, where Ohio State was 9.5 most of the week, and then we saw a significant move on game day where it went down to 7.5 or so. And I think where the line was in this game prior to the semis, with it maybe being Indiana 5.5, and even before the playoff in general, where Indiana might have been 3.5 or so. I think maybe we've seen, I don't want to say the old rope-a-dope here, but you've obviously had some public money, and then maybe the big groups and the sharps have kind of maybe built it up and bid it up a little bit with some bets only to come in with the real big bets today on game day. But I think the way the number has moved as well, if you look at the Oregon game and you look at the Alabama game, how much stock do you put in those games? Yes, Indiana won and looked awesome. But we were talking early in the year, and I remember prior to Election Day about is Alabama, should they be in the field? This is a team that only got in politically because of they didn't want to leave a team that played in the SEC title game out. It's an Alabama team that got dog-walked by Georgia and got pummeled by Florida State. So it shouldn't be a surprise that they got blown out by a good team. Then Oregon, no running backs healthy. You're hearing rumors and rumblings and stories about Will Stein and Tosh Lupoi, the coordinators for Oregon, being absent for a lot of the prep. How much did that really affect Oregon's prep? So I think there are avenues and reasons to be potentially a little bit skeptical of how those games went, and maybe the result shouldn't necessarily be seen as this Indiana dominance and this unbeatable juggernaut like a lot of people seem to be hyping on that narrative.
Mm-hmm. How hot is this ticket, considering Miami on their home floor and how a home court, home field, and how well Indiana travels in that large alumni fan base?
I've known personally, as a Miami alum, I've had friends who are alums who have had club seats for 15 years or so, and they got shut out. They were unable to get tickets. I've seen anywhere $3,500 minimum get-in price here, and it looks like there's going to be quite a bit of people out in the parking lot just kind of enjoying the game or going to wherever they can, because I'll tell you what, the seating capacity here, no way it can hold the number of people that are out there in the parking lot right now. I think it's going to be pretty close to 50-50 out there. There are a lot of Miami fans out there. Obviously, there are a lot of Indiana fans, but I think the thought was, after seeing the Beach Bowl, that it was going to be like Bloomington South. I don't think that's going to be the case at all.
Okay. How much stock do you put in the common opponent? They both played Ohio State. Indiana Big Ten title game, won at 13-10, very close the entire way. Miami, a couple of weeks back in the College Bowl playoff, I thought they took Ohio State apart. I thought they were clearly the right side and could have won by more. That was 24-14.
Yeah, and they probably should have it. And I wouldn't necessarily put every ounce of stock in it. But I will say, I don't think anybody that night in Indianapolis watching that game came off the field thinking that Indiana was definitely the better team in that game. I think that was Ohio State really killing themselves in the red zone, 4 red zone trips, one touchdown, and a whole bunch of empty trips. In talking to some people, I know they felt the same way. They were like, we never felt like we were not in control of that game against Indiana. And then when they're like, we played Miami, and they're like, oh my God, that team is good up front. So I know Ohio State, at least internally in that building, they obviously have respect for Indiana because Indiana won the game, but they could not speak any more glowingly about the Miami front on both sides of the ball than they did in private conversations that I had.
Is this going to be a regular thing? Because Cristobal won't answer and gets mad when people ask him, is the U back? Do you think the U is back, and this is going to be a top 10 program now moving forward year in, year out?
Well, it should be. You look at the NIL support that they have, and you're in the ACC, where they didn't even win the ACC this year, and they're here in the playoff. And you would expect, moving forward, that the way the ACC, the money goes here now, they get a big boost in financial support. All the money from the playoff they get to keep. So I think it is going to be a thing move forward, regardless of what happens tonight. Miami win or lose, the trajectory on this program and the arrow is clearly pointed up. And I think one of the reasons Mario is being a little bit hesitant on saying is the U back is I think he sees the new way, the future of college football, and he doesn't want to live in the past. He wants to embrace it, and sure, all those guys are welcome back, and he was part of that great past. But I think he sees a vision for the future of Miami. So it's not necessarily he doesn't want to say the U is back. I think it's more like we're not stuck in the past. We're going to be bigger and better potentially.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Chris Fallica, he's already in the stadium tonight for Miami and Indiana for the national championship game. Bear Bets podcast, also Fox Sports. And also, he finished third in the Friday Night Football Invitational here on VSiN and at Circa with a record
maybe
of six.
Maybe second. I've got Miami tonight. If Miami covers tonight, I'll finish second. I'll pass Jarvis.
My apologies. There you go. You're behind him by half a point. So my guess is that you have oodles of Miami plus 8.5 or plus 9 in pocket. For the audience right now, that number is no longer gone. But 7.5 still? I mean, what would you make the number overall?
Yeah, I would say probably closer to 5.5. I actually don't have any 7. I have a bunch of Miami futures in pocket. Money line. We're here. I'm not going to take 7.5 or 8 and hope for a Miami cover and a close loss. I'm here. I expect them to win. I will admit I did play a little bit of an Indiana money line hedge with parlaying it with Yannick Sinner to win the Australian Open, maybe Arsenal to win the Prem, just to kind of get that 315, 320 money line down, but not for a whole lot, just for my stake, because I do think in my heart of hearts and in my brains of brains, I think the matchup here for Miami is a very favorable, and I think they feel really good about their play up front and how they match up front on both sides of the ball. I know Indiana's been a little bit different with the way they kind of protect, and it's almost like they pick people and don't go head on. But I just know that between the right tackle and there's a guard that had initially been at Colorado, and I have some people with the Colorado program who were like, we have no idea how he's playing in Indiana. So we'll see what happens. They obviously have to go out on the field and play and get it done. And look, if Miami does what they did against Ole Miss and they get a red zone turnover and they drop 4 interceptions and call stupid penalties like they did, they won't win tonight. But if they play the way they did against Ohio State and they play the way they did against A&M, I think they got a great shot to win.
I love Fletcher. I love the running game. How about 25 carries for the big guy?
Yeah, I think you're going to see that, because I would imagine in the first half you will probably see a lot of running and potentially a lot of long sustained drives by Miami. Without Xavier Lucas on the field for the first half, I would think that will probably try to enable Miami's defense to kind of stay off the field for a little bit and play a little bit of complementary football. So yeah, I would think Fletcher, and I would think another prop that I found that I played was Malachi Toney over 9.5 rush yards. I'm not sure we're necessarily going to see a lot of Malachi tonight, but I think if you look at the way they got him the ball in space, a couple of passes that were behind the line of scrimmage out in the flat that will count as rush plays, I think you could very easily get to double-digit yards there.
Hey, Bear, I want to go back to Selection Sunday, because you were texting us like, hey, Miami, take them plus money right now to make the playoffs. You were all over that for, I think, a couple of weeks at least. Were you also taking more Hurricanes to win the title just in case they did get in at that point? Because people have 100, 150, higher than 200 to 1 at that point on this team to win the whole thing.
I've got 150 to 1. I picked up 150 to 1 the week of selection day, and I got 25 to 1 before the year. I picked up 50, 60, 75 to 1 during the course of the year, and then they got as long as 150 to 1 beforehand. And it was all of, it wasn't part of my agenda and why I went so hard for them to get into the field. I was just kind of reciting facts, but it was all, and what I might text to you and Pauly, it was all about seeing the forest through the trees, knowing the way the committee has operated in the past, and knowing once BYU lost, you were going to get Miami and Notre Dame finally right next to each other, and that was when that head-to-head win was going to kick in. Now, it should have been that way? No, it shouldn't have. And then, obviously, as soon as we saw Alabama at 9, they popped that up. You knew where this was going to go for Miami to be 10 and get into the into the field. So, yeah, hopefully a lot of people listen to all the shows and the tweets that I sent out. And I know there were some people that got like plus 1,000 to get in the playoff, plus 430 to get in the playoff. And if you got some prices, then maybe you can do some things tonight.
You had great tweets. Does history concern you here? We've had a lot of blowouts with the favorite.
Yeah, you have the last 6 years. Yeah, the last 6 years we've seen favorites win and win big. But also at the same time, it's one of those either favorites win in cover or underdogs win outright. Like the 12 times you've had in a CFP or a BCS title game, the 12 times the underdog has covered, 9 of them has won outright. So this reminds me a lot of maybe the Ohio State-Oregon national title game in 2014 or the Florida-Ohio State game in 2006, where I think people are so harping on, we don't trust Carson Beck. We don't trust Mario Cristobal. They lost to Louisville and SMU. Mm-hmm. They're focusing on that, and they're not focusing on the fact that Miami just went through Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Ohio State, teams that are power rated 2, 6, and 10 in the country, and they also got a win over Notre Dame. They're forgetting about all the wins, and they're focusing on everything else negative and focusing on what Indiana has done, which, frankly, has been great as well.
Yep. Hey, Bear, great spot, especially a couple hours before kickoff as you're live at the stadium. Best of luck to your Canes and to your future bets on this team tonight, man.
Thanks so much, guys. Everybody enjoy the game.
Follow him on X at Chris Fallica, Bear Bets podcast as well with Fox Sports. And he can finish second overall in the Friday Football Invitational here at Circa and on VSiN. All right, so he'd make the number 5, maybe 5.5, but has a bunch of Miami Hurricanes to win it all on future bets. You're going to hear the exact opposite side of the coin. Someone who made the game higher than 10, and Curt Cignetti brought up the point spread this week as well. Hear what he had to say next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We do have some breaking news in the National Football League. The third team now without a coach found their new one. The Miami Dolphins are going to hire Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator, Green Bay Packers, as their next head coach. Instant reaction, Pauly.
Bad hire, tough sell. Going to lose the press conference. Horrible meltdowns against the Bears, and a bad job on that Saturday night game against Derrick Henry as well. So I know they've had some injuries, but that was a poor way to end the season. So people who were out there, I mean, the candidates that were out there, and I would certainly would have rather had Harbaugh, but also what Nick Whalen said, Stefanski went too early. I don't care how good the ribeyes were that Arthur Blank made. I mean, you get Josh Allen now for years if that job was available. So you wouldn't have I think that you could have whacked them after the squib kick fiasco.
That would have been the time.
He couldn't get him over the hump. And the comeback is, well, we couldn't beat Mahomes. But you also couldn't get stops. And He's a defensive guy, and you cannot score 30 points on the road and give up 33 to Bo Nix and lose the game.
Boy, I'll tell you, this team has had some, bizarre hires over the years. I'm right now looking at the list of head coaches. The Shula days are a long time ago. That's 30 years ago now, by the way. Jimmy Johnson for a couple, Wanstead for 5, Jim Bates for 1 year. Was he? I don't remember that.
No. I know Cam Cameron was.
Cam Cameron for 1 year.
Yeah, he was a disaster.
Tony Sperano.
Uh-huh.
Joe Philbin.
Oh, Joe.
Wow, was that
exposed
bad.
He lost his job because he was so bad in Hard Knocks. And he got exposed.
That's right.
Everybody's picking up there's garbage on the practice field.
Yeah. I actually think it got worse. They hired Adam Gase.
Yeah.
He was absolutely lost in space, that guy.
Ooh.
And then the Jets hired him after that.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Brian Flores for 3 years. You all know what happened there. And Mike McDaniel. But they just can. Oh, boy. That is they're swinging and missing a lot. And I think he would have said the same thing about a lot of those hires going into them, right? Like, what are they doing here?
Defense was good this year.
And they don't have a lot of talent on defense.
I wouldn't mind Kubiak either.
Now, well, he's going to get, I think, one of the elite jobs, the way it looks. He's trending again towards the Buffalo job right now. He's a short shot on some of these betting markets right now. Stefanski, the Atlanta job, like you said.
Dable's favored at Kalshi.
For which gig? Buffalo?
Buffalo.
I can see it.
You can?
I can see it, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised it's got to be offense after how bad the defense was.
I'll tell you, too, like a team like the Browns, the Raiders, you have a plan? Are you gonna be still without a coach in 3 weeks?
Good, I know.
When everybody gets gobbled up? What are we doing here?
This Flores Dable thing's not working now.
Oh, that's long gone now.
Yeah, kiss that goodbye.
Sure.
You know?
All right, so we just heard from Chris Fallica, very strong on them. Said that he would make Indiana like 5, maybe 5.5.
Yeah.
And he has Miami on several future bets. So loves them, thinks that they can win the game outright. He did hedge a little bit there, as he said, on Indiana, on a couple of cross-sport parlays, just to lock in some money to get the exact opposite point of view. Kenny White, longtime odds maker / bettor. He is currently 7th in the Friday Football Invitational. He has Indiana as a bigger favorite than what they are right now. Here he is on the Friday night show this past weekend.
I made it 10.5.
Okay.
I made it 10.5 without giving any home field advantage in the game. And I've been higher on them. Obviously, I had them last week as well. And again, you have a certain percentage that you move these power ratings and adjust week in and week out. But at this time of the year in the playoffs, when a team gets this hot, you've got to move it a lot quicker. And to be honest, I was actually a little conservative. I actually could have moved them up maybe a point or point and a half more. Just the game they played the 3 games they played in the last couple of weeks have just been perfectly played games. I don't know if you get much better. They're undefeated against 5 top 10 college football teams this year, and they're making it look easy.
Yeah, now it's his best bet.
Yeah, but the comeback is what Miami has done against all these teams.
That's true.
What Fallica said. Now, this is great because Fallica said the number's insulting. And I think you're paying a huge tax. You were on Indiana. And, again, some of this stuff's ridiculous that they're right there with the Burrow LSU teams, even though they're a fantastic team. But I think we're getting carried away. But I disagree with him that he doesn't factor in home field. It's on their home field. I don't care if it's 60-40, 50-50, the fans. To me, it's the familiarity and knowing I'm playing in my backyard, and that's a big deal. That has to factor in at some point.
I also want to tie it into the whole conversation about C.J. Stroud and something that Kenny said right there. The question that everybody was asking going into the game yesterday again was, well, can C.J. Stroud possibly be that bad again, like he was on Monday night against the Steelers? And he was worse, actually. And to tie it into this game tonight, can Indiana play to this level again?
Yeah.
Like, it's been...
Fair question.
I mean, my God, it's like you're talking about how many A+ games now have they had? A lot.
Yep.
So are they...
But with this guy, I'm not going to doubt this guy. He's incredible.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, who walks in with that press conference? Who does that? They hadn't won a bowl game since the Copper Bowl in 1991. They hadn't won the Big Ten since 1967. They have the record for most losses, and he comes in, Google me, I win. I mean, I can't...
Mocking Purdue.
Yeah.
Right?
Ohio State sucks, all of it.
It comes in with that attitude?
Yeah, he's a gangster.
Sure he is.
They're going to make the movie as soon as if they win. The movie's probably done already.
I got to ask this. Kurt Cignetti, where have you been our whole lives? 64 years old.
I know.
Right? He should have been like in this spot when he was 28.
Yep.
35, whatever.
Yep. It's unfortunate.
So he talked about the point spread this week.
Oh, it was excellent. It was great. He's got some great quotes here.
Uh-huh.
Number one, about we got to dial it down with the hype and the rat poison that's out there. Mm-hmm. He said rat poison.
Oh, he did.
And you don't go to war with warm milk and cookies. He said, no more fuzzies. No more fuzzies now. It's down to business, and we got to stop with this Indiana's so great. That was excellent. But he was asked about the strengths and how good this Miami team is, and at the end referenced the point spread.
They're athletic at all positions. They have great team speed. They have really good size. Their defensive line, the two ends are, game changers. The inside guys are really good. They got depth there, too. Linebackers run and hit. Corey's doing a great job of coordinating the defense. Offensively, the line's big. The starting running back is big, running really well. I think they do a great job of blocking. The receiving core is deep and athletic, and number 10, obviously, is an unbelievable weapon. I think he's got 99 catches, no drops, and he can throw the ball in trick plays, too. And he's a punt returner. And the tight ends are good. and the special teams are good. The specialists are good, and they're playing at home, and they didn't have to travel. So I think the 8.5-point spread's a setup.
And then he may as well have looked at the camera and winked.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks to Sirius XM. That's strong.
So,
but I also like what the Bears said too, based on, and Cristobal's not happy about it, but Lucas is suspended the first half.
What a ridiculous call that was.
The targeting. So even more so, I think they shorten the game, run the ball and chew clock. So first quarter under 10, no score first 5.5 minutes, a lot of carries for Fletcher and a lot of carries for Brown.
So how about this? His rushing attempt prop tonight is 16.5. Fletcher, that is. 17 against A&M, 19 against Ohio State, 22 against Ole Miss. That's the formula, right? I guess
you should have had more.
Yeah.
Everyone I was talking to was like, why don't they run the ball more? They're blowing these teams off the line of scrimmage.
Sure. So I know people could come back and say, well, Indiana, they get off to such fast starts. If that's the case, you might have to abandon the run. I don't know. Miami's defense is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a lot of points. I
can't abandon the run.
I get the move, by the way, down to 7. I really do. 8.5 was a ton. And Kenny made it 10.5. That's his best bet, but we'll see how it plays out tonight. We have some really good trends on this game, by the way. In the national title game. You mentioned that with the favorites lately.
Yep.
It's absolutely nuts what's been going on. It's 6 straight, I believe, right? Outright and ATS after 6 straight losers on the favorite. Now that 58-pointer, that obviously was a Georgia TCU game, right?
That was over 5 minutes in.
Yeah. And that was, if you did not have Georgia 13.5, I did not have a bet in the game, you instantly regretted that. 5 minutes in, you're like, how did I not lay the points with Georgia in this game? That was to the point of where you either shut it off, you felt bad for TCU, or you got on with your life, or a combination of the 3.
Yes.
Right?
Profit X, #1 place for college basketball player props. They offer all players in all schools in every state. Profit X is available. As we get closer to March Madness, take advantage of Profit X 20% purchase match. Download Profit X now. Experience the future of winning. Use promo code VSiN to get started. Sign up offer. Bonus cash. You got the match. Code VSiN. Get started now. Profit X.
We do also have some NBA games in action today. A couple of those have already finished.
Damn, missed the Knicks game.
Yeah,
I like Marshall over points and Flag again with the props. Marshall's been great for Dallas.
He's been really good. Also looking for I couldn't find Miles McBride today.
Really?
I couldn't find, is he out? I couldn't find that news. I couldn't find props on the guy. He has 11 threes on 24 attempts his last 2 games. Anyway, San Antonio leads Utah right now 23-8. The Hawks started 0 of 21 today from 3, and they ended up losing by 2 points to the Bucks. Warren Sharp on the program next. We'll get his takeaways from yesterday, early thoughts on the semifinals in the NFL here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Reaction to the weekend in the National Football League as we go out to the Progressive guest line. Warren Sharp joins the program as he has every Monday at this time throughout the football season. Follow him on X at Sharp Football. Website is sharp.football. Earlier today, Warren, by the way, thanks for the time as always. We appreciate it here. The Buffalo Bills decided to go in a different direction at head coach. They fired Sean McDermott. He's no longer there. What was your reaction to that news?
A little bit of relief, but also surprise. I thought Sean McDermott should be fired for a little while now because the true reason that they have not been winning in the postseason has not been Josh Allen. It has been Sean McDermott. Now, obviously, with the 4 turnovers yesterday, the case is Josh Allen's fault. And Josh Allen took that responsibility in the postgame presser. So nobody's really arguing with that. The issue is this defense, which is Sean McDermott's bread and butter, has allowed far too many points far too frequently in the postseason. They have played 6 postseason games since 2020 when Josh Allen basically came on the scene along with Brian Daboll. This offense started cranking. The team started making these nice runs throughout the postseason. And in their losses, they are allowing an average of 33.2 points per game, which is the most of any team in the NFL. They've allowed 199 total points in playoff losses since the start of 2020, which is the most of any defense in the NFL. Of 30 teams to lose playoff games since 2020, of 30, the Bills ranked number 29 in success and number 26 in EPA per play. So on a per play basis, not just a points allowed basis, this has been a bad defense in the postseason. That has definitely cost this team. On the flip side, Josh Allen in the postseason, even including yesterday's debacle, is number one in terms of success rate in all playoff quarterbacks. There's 28 qualifying quarterbacks with at least 50 pass attempts. Number one in success rate, number two in EPA per play. In the losses, the Buffalo Bills offense is averaging over 25 points per game, which is far and away the most of any team in the NFL in playoff losses since 2020. This is a team that has been being cost because of the defense, not the offense. I definitely think it was time for a change. I hope that they go in the direction of an offensive-minded head coach and then bring in a very creative and aggressive defensive coordinator into the mold. But I'm still a little bit surprised that they retained the general manager as well. I thought they maybe should have gone a different direction in that regard also. But, you know, I don't know if Brian Daboll is the right guy, but Brian Daboll certainly got Josh Allen to have a lot more success than he's had over the last 3 years without Brian Daboll. And the last point I'll make on that from like a Brian Daboll perspective is that this team trailed at halftime with Brian Daboll in the last 3 years that he was there. Only 9 times in 3 years did they trail at halftime. The 3 most recent years, the Buffalo Bills have trailed at halftime 23 times. So 23 times in 3 years to only 9 times in 3 years with Daboll. The aggression, the importance of building early leads, that's what Brian Daboll was trying to get out of this team, and he succeeded. The defense was letting him down then. Defense has let them down since. Josh Allen needs some help. He is Superman, but he can't just keep pulling out of the cape each week.
Good observation forget about being retained. The guy was promoted. I can't believe what's going on in Cleveland and Buffalo with keeping those decision makers. What do you expect out of Stidham, who has 1 career win and hasn't thrown a pass in 3 years, if the point spread's out of whack here?
Well, look, we know that Bo Nix tends to be the leading rusher in some of these big games. They're not probably going to get that out of Jarrett Stidham in this game. So they're going to have to figure out, Denver will, another way to be productive on the ground. Also, they're going to have to figure out an avenue to success when the pass play breaks down, because I just don't see Stidham running as often or as frequently as we were getting out of Bo Nix. So you're going to lose in those areas. He does tend to fire the ball down the field a little bit more. There might be a little bit more aggression. So we shall see about the chances and the risks that he ends up taking. I trust Sean Payton in trying to figure out something to have some success. But keep in mind, this is a brutally difficult defense that you're going up against in terms of the New England Patriots. That being said, both of these defenses really haven't been tested that much this season. You can run down the quarterbacks that the New England Patriots have gone up against, and it's a list full of terrible quarterbacks for the most part. But the same actually can be said for the Denver Broncos. The quarterbacks that they have gone up against, not that great. And I know that Drake May hasn't played that great so far this postseason. So it's going to be an interesting matchup that, could come down to something that's, like turnovers or red zone efficiency. I don't necessarily see New England coming in here and blowing out Denver and having a nice, smooth, easy victory. So I think this is going to be a fun game to try to figure out and break down throughout the course of the week. I haven't bet anything on it, but I'm sure that there are going to be some edges along the way, whether it's in the player prop market or the overall game perspective to attack throughout the week.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Warren Sharp, he's on the Progressive Guest Line. Follow him on X at Sharp Football. Website is sharp.football. I know that you were high on Kyren Williams yesterday. You came on the Sunday morning show and talked about how he should be able to get whatever he wants pretty much against the Bears. And then you come out and watch that first half. 7 rushing attempts overall as a team, 27 dropbacks. Stafford was sacked 4 times, had 2 fumbles. Then they only ran it 3 times in the third quarter. They went for 7, 7, and 10 yards. I was losing my mind watching the game, and Sean McVay was losing his mind calling the game for the Rams. Don't you think?
100%. I was resorting to Twitter, like just tweeting through it because I couldn't figure out there was nobody else I'm watching the game with yesterday. I was doing solo so I could get ready for running the numbers after the game's over. I was losing my mind trying to figure out what in the world this game plan was. Through the first 3 quarters of that game, the LA Rams had 34 pass dropbacks, 3-4, and only 10 running back runs in a game that they were tied or leading in 44 out of the first 45 minutes of that game, going up against the number 28 run defense, and you have the number 1 run offense. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot, just trying to accomplish anything. Sean McVay afterward came out and took some responsibility for it, but I just didn't understand it. I was perplexed. I was mystified. I was puzzled. I couldn't understand what they were trying to accomplish. The other thing I was expecting them to do more of is utilize their 13 personnel and try to use a little bit more under center play action in the drop back game to generate something there against a Bears defense that was bad against play action. Went back, looked at the numbers. Sure enough, 46 pass dropbacks throughout the course of the entire game for Matthew Stafford. Only twice did they utilize 13 personnel. The rest of it was 11 personnel. That was a little bit befuddling to me as well. So far, we have seen 2 games for the Rams this postseason. And in both games, they've gone back and looked like the 2022, 2021 Rams with nothing but 11 personnel from shotgun. They need to get a little bit more under center. They need to utilize more tight ends. I think they'll have more success. They almost lost these last 2 playoff games, and they've got too talented of a team on both sides of the football to be putting themselves in those positions where they obviously could have lost yesterday with ease and nearly lost in Carolina as a massive favorite. This is Sean McVay from a coaching perspective and the decisions that he's making from a game plan perspective and in-game adjustment perspective that have to improve against a very difficult Seattle Seahawks defense on the road this week.
Totally agree. Warren, about 2 minutes left here. Are you like us in the early game yesterday? We couldn't believe that they stuck with C.J. Stroud the entire game. We thought they had to go to Mills because the body language on Stroud was awful.
I didn't understand what he was doing out there. You have clear dropbacks on like first down where there's pressure right in your face. And instead of just eating it and taking a sack, you're jumping and trying to throw it with a defender contacting you. You have no idea where the ball is ultimately going to go. And of course it ends up getting intercepted. And he was throwing, I tweeted out at one point, over half the passes he is throwing are interceptable. Like they might not have been intercepted, but they were either close to being intercepted or it was just terrible from CJ Stroud. That being said, he did have his no number 1 wide receiver, his number 1 tight end. They drove the length of the field, scored early, and then he gets injured. Their O-line stinks. They have no run game. Like everything about the Houston Texans has been terrible, and CJ Stroud didn't help matters any, but he was in a difficult situation. I'll just say this, guys. In Houston, they got to figure out a way to practice more outside or to practice more in the elements or something. This team has been terrible when they go outdoors. It's not just in the postseason. Their efficiency overall as a team drops dramatically indoors versus outdoors. They got to figure out a better way to get through it if they hope to make runs in the postseason. I mean, they're getting to the postseason, and every time they go outdoors, they just end up losing games, it seems like.
Yeah. Great catch by you, Warren. Pleasure as always. Enjoy the national title game tonight. We'll talk to you on Sunday morning.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
Warren Sharp on the Progressive Guest Line at Sharp Football. Sharp.football is the website. And by the way, so like props really aren't out yet for the next week. Couple of them, but not.
What are you looking at?
Well, for him to really do deep dives for us right now.
Yeah.
He'll make a bunch of other hits on VSiN throughout the week.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll talk to him again on Sunday, and he'll be loaded.
I got one I'm looking at already. Cooper Kupp, 25 yards, $1.60. Big part of the offense
Revenge
Sunday.
game.
He's going against the Rams.
I like where your head's at.
Certainly. I think Kupp's going to have a good game. Come on, he's plus money to have 30 yards.
Yep. Lifelong Hoosier, sports bettor, and doctor Stephen Geppert live from Miami for the title coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We may or may not head to Miami here. Little connection problem in the stadium. A friend of ours, Dr. Stephen Geppert, lifelong Hoosier, sports bettor,
He started the Indiana Booster Club in 1985 in Las Vegas. He's seen a lot of losses.
Let me give you a couple of tweets on this. This is from, you brought up earlier, you were asking the question about fair weather fans.
Yeah.
This is from Rick.
I don't think that, but it's a lot of stuff out there of these Michigan State people and all these other people saying they're bandwagon fans, and there's a screen grab of the first game that Cignetti coached.
This is from Rick. He says, most Indiana fans are IU basketball and Notre Dame football fans in Indiana until now. They are true bandwagon fans, like you pointed out.
I saw some of that on social media.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Again, when your team is, do you just stick with them? Do you honestly expect thousands of people to stick with any team when they're the worst at what they do for 5 generations? Come on, let's get realistic about that.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Yeah. 1991 was the last bowl win. Steve Doctor was there, Copper Bowl. They hadn't won the Big Ten since '67. They'd only won it twice. And they had the record for most losses. I mean, it's like you win 5 games as an act of God.
Sure. Okay, so you like the Fletcher yards over.
Yeah.
Have I gotten your that with
I'm
the
there
attempts?
Yeah.
Also, there's
and Brown.
And Brown, both those guys. Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting more and more tweets on the game tonight. At VSiN Live at Mitch Moss Radio at Pauly Howard. This is a good one. This is from Chris. Caesars, always shop around. He points out they have the U +3 in the first quarter. Over-unders 10, juice under like -160. He points out Xavier Lucas out for the first half.
Yep.
Miami won't defer. IU probably will.
Okay.
Does that make sense, right?
Yep.
Like they probably want the ball because Lucas is not going to be on the field for the first half.
Mm-hmm.
But actually,
first quarter under 10.
Will Indiana want the ball, though, based on that? Does Cignetti...
I don't think he changes his mind or game plan based. I don't think he does that based on one guy.
+3, if that comes in and they get the ball, you're hanging +3 right now, holding +3.
It's a good discussion. I mean, look at what happened in the NFL over the weekend. That's a good discussion. I take the ball to start overtime. And the teams that won the coin toss went 0-2. They kicked off.
Why do you take the
work
ball?
out. Go right down the field, score, and then match.
It's on them?
Yeah. People like to say, well, then I know what I need, whatever. It's just give me the ball.
I think this is a very interesting part of that process or the discussion. So if you take the ball first in overtime, then you score a touchdown, do you go for 2?
The thinking is the opponent will.
Oh, we saw it with the Rams and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I think the opponent will every single time. Well, I'll say like 90+% of the time. Maybe not every time. But do you like you're going to dictate then what's going to happen? And if you don't get the 2, you can still get a stop defensively, in theory.
Didn't Nance and Romo get into that about scoring a touchdown and going up 9?
9, yeah.
So yeah,
I've always thought about that idea.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I don't hate that.
There's different ways. I mean, I still think Ben Johnson should have gone for the win. You're playing with house money. It's a miracle. There's no way you should have completed that.
Right.
He ran backwards 20 yards, and somehow he's got one-on-one coverage, and Kmet catches it. I would have gone for 2. I also think it was ridiculous what Dungy and Garrett said at halftime. Screw the analytics. They scored a touchdown on 4th and goal. I mean, come on, guys. And then you also assume every field goal is going to be made, which it's not.
This is on that game. This is a tweet from Brokski. Bears outgained the Rams by 77 yards. Bears had 3 turnovers to 0. Bears should have won that game. I said earlier the Rams, it should have never gone to overtime. Forget the final play. My point was...
Well, it was a strange game. The Rams only had 1 penalty, too. But I like his thinking. It's silly turnovers and the miscommunication with Moore. Cannot happen.
Yeah, my whole setup to that was it's because of McVay's game plan. They never should have been in that spot.
Yeah.
The running attack was so bad. The idea of only giving running back 7 carries in the first half, you drop back to pass 27 times, took 4 sacks, 2 fumbles, and you come out in the third quarter and you only run it 3 times that entire frame, and they went for 7, and 10 yards. Come on, that's a clear mistake.
And you know your quarterback struggles in cold weather, and he still could be hurt, and the finger giving him problems. Which also at Williams had the finger issue too. He was shaking his hand the whole game after Verse hit him. It was not called on the hit to the head. But I know where he's coming from. You look at that, and we're We're -3 in the turnover battle. And we could have won the game going away. But Sean does weird stuff, and he owned it afterwards. Said he coached a bad game.
Yeah, it should have played out differently. That's my point, is that the Rams never should have attacked the Bears passing that many times overall. And Corum couldn't even get a look to save his life. Is he in the doghouse all of a sudden? What was that about?
How about Devontae Adams with only 2 catches?
Huh?
He doesn't seem right.
That one catch was
Great.
A+.
Great catch, better throw.
Yeah. What are you
Tough.
thinking?
I hated the all-out blitz on 3rd down.
Yeah.
It was too easy for Puka. That's ridiculous. You're just giving him 10 yards, 20 yards there. Oh, Sean also did a horrible job throwing on 2nd and 3rd down and not trying to get closer on the field goal.
On the field goal attempt, yeah.
That was another one that just happened to work out for him. 40. Anyone score 40 points plus 360. Indiana wins, and both teams score 30, 10-1. Miami wins. Both teams score 20, 5-1. Miami wins. Both teams score 30, 16-1. There's a good trend in going back from Steve Mackinnon today, VSiN.com. Teams failing to score 21 points in the national title game, 1-15 straight up in ATS. Well, Miami's team total is 19.5. Does Miami get to 20? And can they win 20-17? I say yes, and I say yes.
Yeah, I think that's the recipe for them.
Gotta be. And I think it's correlated to the total.
Yeah. Are they? Yeah. This is not going to play out. I don't think they're going to win a game that plays out like the Ole Miss game did.
I'm with you.
They have to win a game like the Ohio State game.
Yeah. Does Indiana score 31? Team scoring 31 or 21-3 straight up and 20-4 ATS.
Well, I'm betting on Miami here. I have 8.5 in pocket, so I hope not, because if they do, there's a very good chance that Miami's not going to get close enough to cover that number then.
Yeah.
And it can turn into an avalanche playing against Indiana.
Yeah, ask Dante Moore. That thing was ugly.
Yeah. Ask Alabama.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's what Beck's got to take care of the ball too. And we saw so much of that over the weekend in the NFL. You can break down a game till you're blue in the face. But if you're going to be like Stroud and you're going to play like the Bears, you're just not going to win. And it was also a surprise because those were the top 2 teams in fewest turnovers and how good they were in the turnover margin all year.
Now, I will, if you want to go back all the way to 1999, favorites of 5 points or more in the national title game, 8-9 straight up, 6-11 ATS.
That's it?
Yeah.
You're going deep. Okay.
Yeah, but it's been hot and heavy recently. Favorites have won 6 straight games straight up and ATS, but they were on a massive losing streak before that. And it completely flipped. I mean, we've had some games that were just completely unwatchable. We brought up the Georgia TCU game. I mean, that game was biggest mismatch you can ever possibly imagine.
Bama Notre Dame.
But we did have that stretch, though, the games that were pretty damn. I mean, the back and forth between Clemson and Alabama. Oh my God, those were 2 epics.
Yes.
That we had, and then Clemson put it on them the 3rd time that they played in a big time way.
Where are these tickets on? Where was this Indiana 80-100-1?
I saw it again today.
I can't believe it.
Saw it again today.
People referencing it. It's like they were preseason top 20, and they made the playoff last year. One guy claims he got a good number when it was after the Oregon game, though. I mean, once they beat Oregon, school was out. And how high of a number could we have been talking?
I guess it was just all of that. They didn't play anybody last year. Then they got killed by Notre Dame. Step up in competition. Not taking them seriously. A little bit of a fluke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I never grabbed it, so I never considered them. I guess
I don't see it. I don't see the tickets.
I guess it would be like, let me get a comparison here. If Texas Tech were to open up 100-1 next year, wouldn't you have to grab some of that?
Yes. Upgrade at quarterback.
Sure, and they're going to keep
defense.
spending zillions of dollars in the portal.
Yeah. Should win that league. Football meets flavor with VSiN and Omaha Steaks, the official sponsor of tailgating. And right now, when you spend $129, you get 2 pounds of fully cooked chicken wings plus 50% off site-wide. omahasteaks.com/VSiN. Don't wait. Spend $129, 2 pounds of wings, 50% site-wide on steaks. The menu's incredible and all the offers. When you go to the website, look at all the options and pick the one that you want. omahasteaks.com/VSiN, delivered right to your door. Minimum purchase required.
So after all of that, the craziness of the season, we get the 1 versus the 2 in the AFC, and we get the 2 Super Bowl short shots for like the last 2 months in the NFC.
Yep. Fitting how that worked.
Yep.
But you got 3 teams, 15-3 here. That's impressive. And then most people thinks the best team in the league with the Rams.
Up next, we have early numbers to get into, including all 4 potential matchups in the Super Bowl. Point spreads on those games. We'll tell you what they are coming up here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.